So I just came upon this video by Codie Sanchez, how she bought a private jet business for $8,000 now worth millions. Now, I have extreme skepticism towards this. I have not watched this video yet, but I happen to own a jet, and I happen to fly it as well. So I am a jet pilot. That's my actual tail number. This is the model of my actual plane. So I know a little bit about jets and also the charter business. And so at first glance, I'm like, all right, this sounds like, you know, nonsense. Like, you don't buy a private jet business that's actually making money for $8,000. You buy an LLC and a name for $8,000. That's what $8,000 gets you. But this is like a classic kind of like tease, like, oh, it went from $8,000 and now it's worth millions. Okay, well, according to whom? So, you know, I'm a little sus so far. One of the first things that I did here, and I have not watched this video yet, but one of the first things that I did is I just look at the website and I click around the website. I'm like, all right, let me see your private charter jets. So I click on it and I'm scrolling around on this, and you still have the JOT form. Now create your JOT form. It's free, built into your flight request, you know, page here. Fill out this form, comma splice, and one of our aviation specialists will be in touch within 24 hours. So I was a little sus when I kind of still saw that here. And it's fine, like anybody can take these photos and showcase this, because this is like what NetJets does or whatever. Like everybody does this. It's not that big of a deal. Like obviously private aviation charters, very, very common. You know, that actually looks, this is a stock photo of a Phenom. That looks like that's a Phenom 300E. That's actually very similar, but it has no tail number. So it's a bullcrap photo, right? Here's a stock photo of a Honda jet. There's no tail number on the aircraft. So these are like literally clip art photos that were used to put this website together. You know, so then I look and go, okay, Stella Jets LLC, apparently registered as a limited liability company at the end of 2021. So they've been around for 2, 3, 4, coming on their 4th year basically, right? And so you can kind of look at like some individual like press releases that they've done, big deal. The photos don't even load. They want to do empty leg services and blah, blah, blah. They talk about how they're a female-owned private jet company from South Lake, Texas. They apparently have 4 Trustpilot reviews. Enjoyed the flight, perfect flight. Okay, so, you know, maybe we've done a few here. We've got 4 reviews. Okay, interesting. It's, somehow also, Stella Jets was very easy to use within 1 week that the LLC was filed, which is also a little sussy that, you know, 7 days after the LLC was filed, apparently they've already been flying. It's interesting because you'd have to be a, you know, 135 operator. This is on their Yelp page. So I went to their Yelp page, and on their Yelp page, you've got this aircraft right here, November 111 Hotel Charlie. And if you look up the aircraft registration for this, first of all, it's registered to some Bennett Mathias out of Alabama, which is not where this corporation is based out of. And it's also a 1976 jet. So probably, you know, pretty OG steam gauge jet. So I'm a little sus already by this video, but I'll give it a chance here. So we'll briefly chance this, and then we'll go, you know, back to some of the news. But let's briefly chance this and see what's going on here. It's going to be some nice sizzle. I know they're always good at the sizzle here.
Sell things to rich people. They pay more. Today I'm breaking down how the rich buy, why selling to them is easier than you may think, and giving you the exact blueprint to sell arguably the most luxurious thing on the planet.
Do you want to
That is not a $12 million plane.
use a 24-karat plated bathroom?
What the fuck? Of course I do. Plus, we'll be meeting my buddy.
We'll look it up. That looks like, okay,
Yeah,
we'll see. That's a more expensive plane. We'll look this one up. That could be like a Falcon.
A private jet brokerage for just $8,000 to learn not only how to do it, but how to fly in these things for cheap. But first, you guys gotta see what they...
There's no tail number on this. That's very sus. When there's no tail number on this, you usually see these at sales events where they just want to sell you the jet and somebody like borrowed them for marketing. Like that, this seemed... Where's the registration for the plane? This is like having a car without a license plate.
pick you up in. So why is selling to the rich one of the best ways to make more money? Well,
So anybody can buy one of these Sprinter vans for about $150K, pretty well decked out new, but they sell them used as well for, you know, sometimes even like low 110s.
They want you to sell them something.
Or you rent them.
And they buy more than once, the same amount of yachts. And
Talking about a client.
Eisler.
Okay, you put the service together, you have the business, no money, no experience, my ass. Dude, nobody with no experience is gonna do a private jet business. We already revealed that these are stock photos. This is this is the South Lake business jet, Stella Jets is taking off. This is a random news article. I saw that as well. That was this one right here. Local business woman uses life-changing news as a catalyst to create company she always wanted. The thing is, she's getting into this industry in 2021 when she started the LLC. The private jet boom was huge during COVID because nobody wanted to fly commercial. The problem is, a lot of this is probably just straight up fugazi, because now NetJets and Wheels Up, like Wheels Up can barely operate profitably. Like people are worried that Wheels Up is gonna go bankrupt because the competition is so intense for these private jet businesses. But so far I know nothing about this business actually getting started or the fundamentals, but let's hear it.
On the bidding site for $80,000, but it was on auction. So I offered him half of what he had it listed for. He said no, so I did the minimum bid and I won at the minimum bid.
So the first offer is $80K.
Okay, so you made 8K, or you paid 8K for a name and an LLC.
You offered
like that's not gonna buy you a plane, that's not gonna buy you, 135 licenses, it's not gonna buy you a relationship with pilots. Somebody has to fly your planes.
40. He says no, so you say, well, I'm just gonna wild card it, $8,000.
$8,000.
And you got a business.
Yep.
How many planes do you own?
We don't own any planes.
0.
You talk
Exactly, you don't own any planes. Exactly, because you have to lease them from other people.
rich people into letting you use their jets?
Exactly. And there's a lot of planes that aren't flying as much as they need to.
But they have to be 135 certified, which means you get way more, inspections, certifications, blah, blah, blah. You have to lease them at a more expensive price from other companies. Let's see it.
Need someone to sell charters on their aircraft. So
fascinating.
Yeah.
So it actually costs them more money to not charter.
Exactly.
This is your least expensive plane that you have right now. How much would this thing cost?
It goes for about $6,000.
Cheap. How much would this thing cost me to fly per hour?
$2,000 to $3,000 per hour.
Whoa, how far?
Those are reasonable numbers.
To go.
You can go from Texas to either coast. It's a little bit slower than the jets, but it's the most cost effective and actually
those are actually really good planes.
Most chartered.
What are your profit margins?
Anywhere from 10% to 30%.
Let's talk about the core way you make money in a jet business.
It's chartering the aircraft to businesses, business owners, and of course our athletes and celebrity clients.
What are the hidden costs that nobody talks about with these things?
Our landing fees, fuel. For the clients, the hidden costs are if we have to reposition it. So for us, we have access to
Oh, that's the worst, by the way. So if you don't have 7,000 planes worldwide because like you said yourself, you don't own them. You maybe have like a contact list of people who own planes. And that's fine. This is very normal. People do this all the time. The question is, how do you have enough business to stay profitable? If you have to do an empty leg, you're not making money. So that's why usually these companies will have empty leg tickets that they'll sell very cheap. You could actually, I think you can go to like Wheels Up and NetJets and sign up to their emails for empty legs, because what happens is if somebody in like Camarillo, California wants to fly to San Francisco, but the closest NetJets aircraft is in Henderson, Nevada, the aircraft company has to fly that plane from Henderson to Camarillo, not charge for it, and then they have to charge for the Camarillo to San Francisco. You now lose money on that Henderson trip. So you have to have enough customers filling out your jot form to cover those empty legs. That's almost impossible. And for a business that's brand new like this, with 4 reviews on Trustpilot, dude, who's gonna hire a charter company that has 4 reviews on Trustpilot and stock photos on your website with unregistered plane? I don't know, I just don't see it.
7,000 aircraft worldwide. We can find the closest aircraft to where our clients want to fly out of.
That one's just blurred out. I see the tail number there.
End up eating that fee for those hours.
It's good for the pilots, it's not so good for us.
Right.
Now we got jet number 2. How much is this bad boy?
So it'll go between 6 and 8 million.
But it doesn't have the spinny thing on the front, propellers.
The spinny things are back here.
What does this thing cost you?
You're gonna be about 4,000 to 6,000.
Okay, so about double the price of the other one.
That's cost. That should charter out for more money than 4 to 6K.
Yes, this one's just faster.
Who's the coolest client you've ever had in this one?
We have a great client that's a really big pro wrestler.
What's the most insane charter you've ever done?
We actually chartered a plane for a cake. So we were flying a celebrity, but it was going to be his birthday from the Midwest, and the only cake his wife ever got him was from New York. So she chartered a separate plane to go to New York, pick up the cake, bring it back to the plane they were going to be on so she could surprise him.
Okay, tell me who it is.
I can believe stuff like this. I don't believe this business is worth millions. I believe it barely, I don't think, it would have more reviews than 4 reviews on Trustpilot if this business was worth millions. But I do believe that somebody would charter a cake. When people have enough money, they don't really care.
Yes.
I can't tell you.
Steve, what's up, man? Okay, this for like
$100, $150 depending on the customer, and
how big of a pain in the ass they are?
that too, that even goes higher. Last year we invoiced over 200 airplanes.
Tell me the name of your business.
I named the company One Marine Aircraft Maintenance.
Wait, this is a totally different company now. He's talking about, like, now we're chartering Cessnas. Oh, here's a
Steve,
Phenom.
you're the man.
Exactly.
Wait, D?
All right, this is amazing. Steve, you're the man.
I know a D.
Okay, what about this bad boy? How much does this thing
It's
cost?
about a $10 to $12 million plane.
And what if I want to rent
Yeah,
it?
not new. It's going to be more. If you want a new one of these puppies right now, you're probably about $13 million. Chartering this, it's probably, I don't know if you can get it for less than 10 an hour right now.
$5,000 to $7,000 an
No,
hour.
Why?
that's her cost. That's her cost. For sure, that's her cost. That's not what you're going to charge the customer.
It's about a $10 to $12 million plane.
And what if I want to rent it?
$5,000 to $7,000 an hour.
Why is it more expensive?
You can fit more people and go a little bit further really fast.
So does size really matter?
Always.
So what's the most expensive add-on you've ever done for one of these?
A helicopter.
Oh, sick! Are we gonna go on a helicopter now?
Not today, but I have something else in mind.
I like the sound of that.
They really make this like a show. Oh, okay, rent a fancy car to pick you up. Who cares? This is silly. I mean, really, the jet business, the private jet business, this is like, it's customer service. You got to bring people their fancy rentals. You got to bring people their food. You got to bring people, you got to get them at their locations. This is a really tough business. I highly doubt somebody who bought this business for $8K, again, name an LLC, is actually, the business is actually worth millions right now. Highly doubt it.
From the cheapest parts of this jet all the way to the most expensive, ready to go. First, we got a $5,000 sink. Then we got a $100,000
It's probably honestly more than that.
carpet. The leather
Yes, it probably is $100,000 for the carpet.
costs $200,000. Then we've got
Also
the wood
true.
paneling,
Probably.
$400,000. We got
Also likely true.
these right here. That is $975,000 for the sound
You do not want to replace any of this crap because it all has to be FAA certified. It's insane. Look at that old cockpit though.
cockpit. This is $1 million because this thing can take us
Yeah, it's $1 million and it's kind of a piece of crap.
all the way to Europe, which apparently is rare. Usually a jet of this size would cost you how much to fly for an hour?
About $10,000 an hour. You want to use the
Yeah, I think she's giving us costs here because you would rent out a Falcon for probably closer to 14 an hour with the right customer service and company.
24 karat plated bathroom
Of course I do. That's
in the bottom.
It's okay.
All right. Oh, here we go.
Probably breaking some of that. Let's talk business model. Selling planes.
Yeah.
Well, sell a $10 million plane. I bet they take about a 3% commission.
I bet. Did you not hear it?
Which means you make $300K. That's cool, but that's a fee-based business. Margins ain't that great, meaning you don't make that much money.
That's she's guessing on aircraft sales. That's aircraft sales versus charter.
Is what they do the most of. They let somebody buy a flight for 20 to 50K. They probably take home somewhere between 2 and 5K. They can do this many times. This is cash flow as opposed to one-time fee. Usually people.
No. The amount of labor that's involved in that. Remember, you gotta fight. Listen, it's not just getting the plane to the location. You also need to get 2 pilots to the location. So what if your pilot is in Florida and Austin, Texas? You got a flight out of Camarillo. Now you got to get the aircraft there. So you got to fly your pilots to, let's say, Henderson, to fly the plane to Camarillo, to pick up your customer, to fly the customer where they want. And then what? What if they only go one way? It's not that great of a business, man. This is a very, very tough business to make money in. Yeah, you want to sell memberships, but who wants your Stella Jets membership? You get a NetJets membership. You know, that's the cream of the crop jet card.
doing it often. But the way we make sure they're doing it more often is we turn them into members, which is what they do here. So for memberships, you get their flat fee of 10K all the way up to 100K. That means
Yeah,
it gets
all right, I get it.
experiences. This is cool. That's what we just talked about. These experiences might be a cool celebrity flight, anywhere from 10K to 100K.
There's no difference between that and a charter flight. That's just branding.
It's worth and
Actually, I have
okay. This is
but I really appreciate you coming. Enjoy the flight, and I'll see you next.
I like how they put these two random dudes next to them just for a cool shot that means absolutely nothing.
Next time.
thanks. Okay, this is today. Few not willing to this big too. So this video, it's really to you and to your future.
This, I don't know. I'm highly skeptical of all of this. I think that there's no way this business is worth millions. They gave us no insights at all into how this business went from $8,000 to being worth millions. They told us a little bit about the private jet charter industry. They gave us some generic numbers, which I think some of them are probably quite wrong. We didn't get anything on profit margins. They didn't talk to us about pilots. They didn't talk to us about 135, FAA fees, inspection fees. They briefly mentioned empty legs. They didn't go into detail about the hell of that and how margin destructive that is. And how the only way you really make money is if you're as big as like a Warren Buffett-owned NetJets and you don't have empty legs. Somebody in the chat says, I thought they said 10 to 30% profit margins though. Here's the thing, you gotta be careful. When people say, oh yeah, 10 to 30% profit margin, maybe on that one flight you've chartered. You've given me a standard profit margin for any business. Apple is a 10 to 30% profit margin on the phones they sell, okay? Microsoft is like a 10 to 30% profit margin. I mean, they're probably closer to like 40%. But my point is like 10 to 30% profit margin. Bro, I could go like this to any business and say 10 to 30% profit margin and probably be right. So let's be real. You're not making money if you are covering empty legs. You are losing money. You are lucky if you're making a 30% profit margin on an actually booked out flight on the actual flight, just because it's so damn expensive to fly. Just fuel and like warranty and engine programs alone, the break-even cost of this puppy is $1,500 an hour. Break-even cost, that's fuel. It's basically, think about it as like $500 an hour for fuel, $500 an hour for engine programs, $500 an hour for all the other bull crap. Consumer, whatever. Tires, brakes, whatever other warranty issues, right? So have you paid pilots? Have you paid repositioning? Have you paid the airport and landing fees? Have you paid your insurance costs? Have you built in your profit margin? Have you paid your customer service hours, in there? Have you paid, what about your sales and marketing expenses? Like none of that was covered in that Codie video. And that's why I'm like, come on, man, this is nonsense. We didn't really get anything out of that.
Why not advertise these things that you told us here? I feel like nobody else knows about this.
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber. Meet Kevin. Always great to get your take.